Do people who like two teams equally, are they trustworthy? Would you trust them with anything?
Sure. I mean,
Hey, thank you.
yeah. I mean, look, everybody can have fandom in their own way, right? I mean, it's not up to me to tell somebody what they can like and what they don't like. You know, I'm not a big football fan. I grew up watching the Dolphins. I said that I like football, but I'm not a fan of any one team, right?
Right.
I grew up watching the Dolphins. My dad's a big Raiders fan. The Seahawks are my brother's team. Like, if I have another brother who likes the Steelers, so I root for all those teams when they make the playoffs. But because I don't have an allegiance to one team, I just kind of like want a good game, right? I enjoy watching the sport. I think that's one way to do it. There's other people who are legit fanatics, like they only love Gator football or they only love Islander hockey, whatever it is, right? The soccer. I mean, the soccer teams, the fans. Like if you watch Welcome to Wrexham, these people year round going to games, painting their faces.
Yeah, I went and saw them in San Diego. I saw Wrexham.
Oh yeah, they came to Raleigh. I wanted to go see them, but we didn't get tickets. But
let me ask you this about that. Yeah. Like, if you're watching a World Series, let's say you got the Angels versus the Yankees, right? And you're a fan of the Yankees, like you love the Yankees. You would feel sad if the Yankees lost. If someone is a fan of both of those teams, they're going to be happy when the Yankees lose. You can't be a fan because of that.
No, why don't you direct the question at me, though? If that was a scenario.
I'm talking to him. I talk to you all the time.
I would go for the Yankees. I would go for the Yankees.
I think if two teams that you like are playing each other, you got to pick one. And there's this old rule that if you can't decide which one you want to pick, flip a coin, and when it's in the air, you'll know which one you want. So that's one way to handle it.
That's a good way to handle it.
I mean, that's a good point.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
I was just gonna say Andrew's married, and that makes me worried for his wife, who said he's got two teams. He's got to pick one.
You're a fool, dude. So let me tell you why I have two teams. Okay, number one, as a kid, I grew up loving the Yankees because Babe Ruth, childhood, all that, and then the patriotism behind it, being a Yankee Revolutionary War. That's the main reason why I like the Yankees. Ever since I had that in my mind as a kid, I love them all the way through, even today. Angels, they just happened to be in my backyard growing up. So I said, well, if I'm going to go, I can never really go to the Yankee game as a kid until, several years ago, I finally went to New York. I might as well root for the Angels. That's my take. But Derek, I know we don't have too much more time with you, but real quick, why do you like the Yankees and what is your probability the Yankees will actually win the World Series? So I guess two questions.
Sure. Well, first I want to respond to your comment about liking one team and also rooting for another team. I think that's different than being a fan. You're a fan of the Yankees, but you're also proud of your city, right? So you're rooting for your city and trying to experience community, which I think is a different thing, but also equally worth rooting for. I'm a Yankees fan because I had three older brothers and a father who were also Yankee fans, and I was the youngest, obviously. So when I was 4 years old, I got a Yankees jersey for my birthday and a little Don Mattingly baseball bat. And my brothers were always watching the game. So that's just what we did at night. We watched the Yankee game. So I haven't missed a game. Well, I shouldn't say that. I've missed maybe 5 games since 1992.
Wow, that's it?
Yeah. So I remember when I was in college, the games were not available on TV, but they were broadcast on the radio. So I used to go sit in my car for 3 hours for every single Yankee game during the season when it would be, April or May, and I'd be rounding out classes. I'd be studying, and I'd be in my car studying, listening to the Yankee game because I didn't have a radio that could get reception in my dorm. So, and why will they win the World Series? Well, it's kind of a probability. I'm not a math guy. It's not great, but it's not great for anybody. I mean, there's a lot of teams that are
Dodgers. I thought were going to do well.
Dodgers are getting healthy. They're getting Yamamoto back on Tuesday. They're looking good, but the AL is up for grabs. I mean, the Astros have been really good, but they just got swept by the Reds. The Orioles have been trying to give the Yankees the division for the last few months. So, I mean, I'd say the Yankees' chances are better than they were in 2022 because the Astros aren't going to be as good. So I could see him doing better than getting swept in the ALCS. How's that? I can see him going at least making a decent ALCS out of it.
I like that. Okay, that makes me feel a little bit better. Yeah, awesome.
But I could also see him getting bounced in the first round. So
Yeah, honestly, I'm a little bit concerned because of the bullpen, but we'll see what happens. The Angels are definitely not getting there, so definitely going all the way for Yankees. So we'll see what happens. Derek,
maybe you can get a third team, and then you'll be taken care of.
Say that again.
Maybe you can just get a third team, and you'll be taken care of.
Yeah. Maybe I'll get the Dodgers now. Yeah, who knows?
Derek, the Padres though, they look good lately.
The Padres, yeah. Can I say so I bought a place in San Diego. So for a moment I was like, and I still own the place right now. I was like, I did buy a Padre hat. So
hey, I mean, nothing wrong. Like I said, nothing wrong with rooting for your city, right?
Right.
So I'm a New York Rangers fan for hockey, but I also really enjoy going to Carolina Hurricanes games because I live near their arena. Because it's just really cool to go to, with a sea of people who are all rooting for the same team, and the music is fun, and you get some hot dogs or some pretzels or whatever, and you just vibe out with the community. I mean, that's part of being a sports fan too.
There we go. So Derek put it to rest for us, Chris. Basically, if you're rooting for your city, you can have two teams, okay? So,
all I got from that is if you're a Yankees fan, you can have a lot of different teams. But no, seriously though, I'm going to Asheville next weekend. Is that are you familiar with Asheville, Carolina?
Oh yeah, it's about a 3 or 4 hour drive from me. It's up in the mountains, so if you're driving there, you're going to have a nice windy road up the mountains, which some people like. I personally freak out, but there's this little cabin that my wife and I went up to in Asheville not too long ago, where it's like pet friendly, and it was just really peaceful and quiet and stuff like that. And there's this one that I stayed at maybe 10 years ago. And out front, they have a little pond, and you can go catch trout. And if you catch a trout, the hotel will fix it for you. They'll cook it up for you and send it to your room.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Wow.
That's
Never
awesome.
heard of that. That's pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
Fun place.
For sure. Yeah, I'm going to a cabin in December. I'm going to go see Chris at his new house in Atlanta. So
I just moved to Atlanta. So should I become a Braves fan or not?
No, I mean, what I'm saying. So here's the point I'm making. You would be obviously still a Padres fan or whatever, but there's nothing wrong with going to the Braves game and feeling a sense of community and having fun and having a good time. But if the Padres were in town playing the Braves, you root for the Padres.
Yeah.
That makes sense? That's what I would do.
It makes sense, but I can't do it,
Yeah, see, there we go.
Here's the reason why I can't do it. The reason I can't do it is because as soon as I do something foolish like that, the Padres are going to get a World Series. It's going to spoil it.
Well, I mean, it's the reason they say root for the home team, right? It's because there's always a different ballpark to go to. If you went to a high school game and rooted for the local high school team, would that make it less special if a team from San Diego had the best record in the country? That's the way I would look at it.
Yeah, I definitely. That's really a good take, and I appreciate that, man. It makes me feel a little bit better because he's always giving me a hard time every time we talk. So
we have a co-host named Sway, and he's also a one baseball team loyalist. He's a Dodgers fan though, so we disagree on that.
Well, don't get me wrong. I only root for one team. I'm just.
I know that.
I wouldn't hold it against somebody who wanted to support, another city.
Right.